Welcome, guys, to What the Fuzz. TikTok gives us so much material from ordinary people to learn on what is going on in the world. And I have you something that I would describe as exposure of delusion. There are two TikToks in particular.
I made a video at this house all the way back in July of 2023. That's over a year ago now, and as you can see, it's still for sale. All the way back then when I made my video, it was listed for 3.3 million.
And now the price has actually grown because nobody cares about you. And that the economy is suffering and suffocating, the buyer is gonna just appear out of nowhere, guys. This guy flashed greedflation. And it's the number one delusional way of thinking of like, oh, your property values growing up because you raised it. It has nothing to do with anything else. Who knows what's going on, to be honest. Yeah, vacancy tax, definitely. It is such a flex. I mean, there should just be maintenance taxes and all that mortgage thing just because you own extra property as well. Like, that would definitely start fixing things. Me do likey that people know solutions already.
Where it seems like you can throw all the conventional wisdom out the window. I've heard houses that are listed for more than 4 months referred to as cursed real estate before, as if it sitting and not selling would be a good reason to lower the price and maybe get somebody interested, right?
I want to dig deeper of like, what is the psychology behind increasing the price even though the property does not sell? Is that making any sense? This smells like delusion to me. One delusion has been exposed, however, to single women. Single woman now knows. You will not hear anything.
My guy friends gave me permission.
See, you're not hearing anything, any audio.
To make a Hinge account for him because I was telling him how.
I try to make a Tinder or whatever dating account for him because, like, oh, I had so much success on dating. Surely a guy is gonna have success in dating, and surely enough that was not the case. She actually got depressed after 3 days of using the dating app. No one wants to match with me. Oh man. This is just a tiny bit of exposure. Just a tiny bit of exposure for one woman. We are only seeing the cracks of the woman world order falling apart. If you haven't noticed, women are ruling the world. They're the ones going outside. They're the ones fucking having enormous amount of fun and making sure that everyone's clean and behaving properly, except the homeless people aren't being sheltered and helped. Yeah, there's some billionaire men who are able to exploit women, mostly, but it's women world order, guys. Which includes, depressing people, whoever wants to use the internet of like, oh, well, you chose to use the internet, we're just gonna crush you like an ant by rejecting you, saying no to you. And you better say no to us because we're predatory system. Just like the housing crisis, if you say yes to a $3 million house, you're a fucking idiot. People are looking for idiots at the moment, and they're very hopeful, including women, are very hopeful to just find an idiot. Some person that they like, and that's easy to exploit, and just somehow fucking gonna land them themselves on their lap. Also, obviously, dating apps are just kind of trash. But I never get to actually see the contrast of like, but now the woman is just coming out like, oh, when you are a man, you get depressed and you don't want to actually participate in said dating no more. I hate it. I hate that these things are like getting exposed, but not enough information for me to like truly be satisfied, Yeah, it gets worse. Well, it doesn't get worse. You have to appreciate that the first step, failing, and eventually, yes, even if you get to the second step, it also fails. If you fail for this much, yeah, women just fucking sit there like queens, and you don't have to do nothing. They have not been pressured to do anything, so it's women world order. They just like sit back and enjoy the way the world works. The way the world works benefits them more than men, unfortunately, it seems. Unless we start doing the right thing, we start, taking our powers back and not just simping all over the place, and not pretending that our life goal is to be rich and then drag a woman into our lives after we just flex the color of Bugatti or something. That's what women are also waiting for. Just like real estate is waiting for a fucking sucker, women also looking for a simp is just a predatory system being exposed, guys. But it's just the tip of the iceberg. Anyways, so if you fail 2 steps of the way, including the employment system, which is also predatory system, if you haven't fucking noticed, is the same thing. Everything that smells the same way of like, you're being asked to participate, you're being asked to contribute the magical amount of money and care and skills. You're being asked for these magical amounts of insane things, including the fact that you have to find that magical place to contribute yourself to it. It seems pretty delusional, and the moment you start just like noticing that these things exist, there's no grasp you can make, no efforts will allow you to at least inspect what's going on, if it's even available for you. So we have 3 types of crises exposing something. Something's going on. It's capitalistic nightmare, technically. Hopefully it's collapsing. Hopefully it's collapsing very soon. It's technically a bubble. There's only so long that you can promise things and not deliver, and U-turn. U-turn, boys. The next story...
Oh my god. You all must have seen the video that's emerged by now of Keir Starmer being ushered into a police car by the police as he's surrounded by around 50, between 25 and 50, very angry...
Well, I did not see it, unfortunately, but this is very interesting.
UK residents. Who would have thought we would be seeing scenes like this so soon after a new leader for the country has been elected? The video shows angry Britain. You and the Labour Party lie to the people of the country. And I'm sorry, but I have no sympathy for you whatsoever. You have U-turned on every single promise that you made to the people that voted for you.
Not delivering none of the promises, huh?
They are witnessing their demise in real time. You said goodbye to the Tories, and now it appears it's time to say goodbye to Labour.
It's kind of weird, because,
this year, and Labour did indeed come back to power after 14 years out in the wilderness. So with...
Yes, after 14 years, he has been waiting to leech the governmental position, it seems. Nothing else. Just to take the opportunity. Everyone was increasingly more greedy, it seems. For now, those are the inspiring stories, pretty much. And I'm still questioning in my mind of, like, what's actually going on. The corrupted capitalism, the thing that I actually tried to explain previous video, works in a predatory way, and it's pretty obvious when you're generally working, right? But you could work harder. You could work even harder and for less, and for harder and for less. And you give us more skills and work harder and for less. And what? That's the predatory capitalism. They just see whatever they can get away with, and they squeeze. Now it becomes delusional capitalism when you can't actually catch a prey anymore, but you're still wanting bigger and bigger things, and you're starting to fucking, lose yourself. When enough people say no to that sort of system, they can't catch nobody anymore. It becomes a shortage of just scam reaching the victims. The corrupted capitalism, waiting for you to do 10 times the work for half the payments. Crazy. Just buy a fucking robot at this point. Just to devolve into, what every factory devolves into. Just automate your processes or give up. I don't know, man. How do we get to this point? How simpy are people to get to the point where none of these systems work no more?
So people
Fast food is no longer more affordable than eating healthy and
I mean, it's pretty obvious. So this guy comes to McDonald's, offers some big meal for 2 people, $32, decides to cook himself. Although there is some delusion to it because he actually is rich and has all the cooking hardware, including the fucking thing to cook burgers in, that.
55. You can grill them.
Yeah. Now it's just a flex at this point. It's pretty obvious that you can just go to a grocery store and grab the ingredients and cook them to the level that you want. Also, I mean, you did went to what? To
My videographer whip up.
it must be
$31.78, $32
It must be McDonald's, bro.
cooked down. Probably the
I do want to see what's the end result. I mean,
best part is these beef tallow French fries. Just get a hefty amount of them right on there. And the last thing, a little bit of mustard. I just love it. I'm not gonna drink some bullshit soda. I'm gonna go with some Santa Cruz Paleo electrolytes. RO water with the electrolytes, man. Food makes you sick. Whip this up instead. Get more protein. Get far more nutrition. Dude, this is insane. F McDonald's below if you agree that this is just.
I mean, that's just what's happening. Another form of corrupted capitalism, because you see what's also going on. Likely, people have found some lazy ways to either earn money or attract women, some fucking lazy ways that turns them into predators as well. The lazy ways of life, which now includes lazy way of life of just, well, some people just gonna grab easy food, quickly cooked food for them. They don't want to do this work. There's enough lazy people that the business of McDonald's that's harvesting reputation because their name is so well known. I mean, they just established themselves above lazy people. We can say no to this, and we can move on to this, but we have to learn how to cook food. You must understand, this ain't free. This is not better. This is only better when we have the correct mindset. Because, skills will come after. You can start transitioning, just like buying bread and meat. Slap it together, it's a sandwich that you'll be able to eat very quickly as well. No need to even order anything. No need to think about expenses. Is the cheapest option by far. But you still kind of have to think about expenses. You have to understand that burger is expensive, and you have to make math by yourself still to make a proper decision. It's weird, but it is what it is. You have to go into a restaurant, go into a grocery store, do this experiment by yourself of like, what can you achieve to be able to set your mind straight. It's just kind of weird, but it's necessary.
So people always talk about how the rich never pay their fair share, but how exactly do they get away with it? Well, the most common...
This guy actually explains the billionaire thing so very well that I probably have to play the entire 3-minute video, guys.
The trick is called buy, borrow, die. Step 1 is straightforward. They buy assets like stocks that go up in value over time. So let's say Jeff Bezos buys $1 billion of stocks and his stocks are going up each year. Now this part is critical to understand. He will never have to pay taxes on the money he made from his stocks going up as long as he never sells his stocks. The idea is that stocks are just pieces of paper that he can't actually use to buy anything in real life, so the government only taxes him once he sells these pieces of paper to pocket the cash he made. But what's the point of putting $1 billion into stocks if you never actually sell it and use the money you made? Well, that's where step 2, borrowing, comes into play. Let's say Jeff Bezos wants to spend $100 million on fixing up his poor rusty yacht collection. Well, if he sells $100 million of his stocks, he'd have to pay 20% capital gains tax or $20 million. So to avoid this, he just takes out a $100 million loan and spends that instead. It sounds so counterintuitive to borrow this money when you're already so rich and you could have this cash on hand, but with the special type of loans that Jeff can get, it actually makes total sense, and here's why. Jeff goes to the bank and says, hey, I want you to give me a $100 million loan with really great terms, but by the way, I have $1 billion stock portfolio, so if you ever don't think I'll pay you back, then you can just take from that. To the bank, this is actually a really great deal because the $1 billion stock portfolio that Jeff Bezos is offering as collateral is worth way more than the $100 million loan. So the bank can sleep easy at night knowing that Jeff will be able to pay them back. And the bank rolls out the red carpet for Bezos with special privileges to keep him as a client. To start, Jeff has no deadline to ever pay off the principal on the $100 million loan. He does have to pay interest on it, but as long as he keeps paying interest, he's never required to pay back the $100 million itself by any certain time. It sounds crazy, but because the bank knows that they can get the money back from Jeff, they don't have to get it back anytime soon, and they'd rather just keep charging him interest. But that's the other thing. The interest rate that Jeff gets is way lower than what we would get. If we'd have to pay 10% interest on a loan, he might only have to pay 5% interest on it. Because the bank has to compete with all the other banks for the privilege of getting to keep Jeff Bezos as their client, so they have to offer the lowest interest rate they can. Alright, so Jeff Bezos now has $100 million to spend however he wants with no deadline to pay it back as long as he keeps paying 5% interest. Now you might be thinking, well, I'd rather just sell my stocks and pay $20 million of capital gains tax one time rather than keep my stocks and take out this loan and have to pay $5 million of interest every single year. But you have to consider this. If you keep your stocks, it can keep growing in the market and it will likely grow by more than $5 million a year. The US stock market has historically gone up by 11% every year on average over the last 100 years, so if your stocks go up by $11 million, then that more than offsets the $5 million that you have to pay in interest. In fact, you're actually netting an extra $6 million practically out of thin air for doing nothing other than just being super rich Jeff Bezos who gets super great deals on loans. But that's not all. The $5 million a year that Jeff Bezos spends on those interest payments are also typically tax deductible, so he pays even less taxes. So to sum this up, by taking this loan, Jeff got the $100 million to spend on his yachts, avoided having to pay $20 million of capital gains tax had he sold his stocks, is now netting an extra $6 million a year from not having to sell his stocks, and got a tax deduction of $5 million a year. But that's not all, because there's still step 3. Once Jeff Bezos passes away, let's say his son Preston inherits his stock portfolio. Well,
There is more!
the government acts as if his son got the stock portfolio brand new with no capital gains. If the original $1 billion stock portfolio grows to $5 billion by the time Jeff Bezos passes away, then he would have $4 billion worth of capital gains that he would have to pay tax on. But when he passes this portfolio onto his son gets it on a stepped up basis where it's basically like a brand new $5 billion portfolio with $0 of capital gains, so his son doesn't owe any tax. So throughout the entire process, Jeff and his family avoided paying a single dime of capital gains tax. So people always
What the fuck, man? Jumped through all the loopholes and don't got no pay taxes because everything is just shares. Now, there's still a way to fucking beat shares and just like not use the goddamn company. Shares go down. Then they will try and sell the shares. This is how we get the sharks, bro. Out of the water. We have to drain their self-esteem of like, no shares. This is like the self-esteem of money, bro. The shares are self-esteem of just like, oh wow, look at how much work we did to the people. Everyone loves us. My shares are going up. I'm the best on top of the mountain. Everyone likes me. I'm the head. I'm the face of the company. It's the self-esteem of money, bro. This is what allows billionaires to exist in the first place. Shares. Crazy. It is what it is, though. And the real problem is the company itself. Nothing else. If we can avoid it, if we want to, if we don't like the face, I mean, it might be a good reason. A face in the way the company operates, of course. Right?
The media was
But this is, now we understand that the billionaire is just like the tail of the company, or technically the head of the company, but I would call it tail. When it comes to money generated, there's a tail that you can interact with, you know, because the tail ain't doing anything. It's just there, like head of the company, making all the decisions. I don't think so.
Job properly, one of the biggest stories right now would be
That UK people are leaving the country. Crazy. Thank God they are. And somehow they knew it's gonna happen, but they will have to leave. At some point, things are gonna be so bad.
for what you go and sweat for. You're giving away to things you don't.
And don't forget, you gotta pay taxes to a corrupted government. At some point, you gotta see no one leave. This is fascinating, isn't it? The power of no. Can't afford to leave. Can't afford to stay. Well, I will always open arms of whoever can replace my dad from the stupid house that he lives in, that embodies in. But you'll have to go through a process of talking to me. Holy shit. For I offer a place to be. But, it has one flaw. No running water. That's a flaw. You can still live there. It's a flaw, though. It has to be fixed somehow. I can't wait until you can just live off the grid and all these flaws get fixed. With technology, you can just, like, pump water out of the fucking, Earth as much as you want. Because you can already do that with the fucking well. So if Mr. Beast just shows up and then we just pump water out of the ground, we solve all the problems. We can just live off the grid. Mr. Beast gives us the internet using Starlink with Elon Musk. We just Starlink ourselves and then pump water out of the ground and then buy an Amazon house, giving Bezos even more stock value. But fuck it. I get value too. I got away with some values. And then we got it. We fixed our lives. We can just move whatever we want. See, I'm ready, bro. I'm ready to leave a $0 rent apartment, guys. Because it's fucking loud in here sometimes.
Dear white people, if you've never owned any slaves or participated in any type of human trafficking, please stop apologizing for slavery.
Funny enough, slavery might have been necessary and might have been the only thing that white people were able to offer the black people. Black people probably lived the same way that they are living in Africa. Like, they have been tortured by just the sun itself. And slavery is actually potentially a step up. We don't know history. We know nothing about history, and yet we complain that history was bad to certain type of people. Certainly right now, the dust has settled, and we are neither Russians who are trying to conquer the world, nor Chinese who are trying to overpopulate the world. You might not have the evils within yourself to blame yourself for anything, but you should stay aware that you might be evil one day, that you might be doing some things, you might be allowing some bad things to happen without any interference, whatever, or even acknowledgments, even spreading the news of what happens. You have to be able to do that. We should be able to do that across the internet, to just talk on what's going on. What the fuzz? I'm trying to do that to some extent, even on TikTok too. Although I did decided to rename my TikTok since my dad started interfering, and I don't believe he's a good person. Anyways.
You are not responsible for the actions perpetrated by people who came before you, just because you're the same skin tone as them. Just like I wouldn't expect to be held liable for a group of black men who happen to rob a bank down the street. So what, we share the same skin. I'm not responsible for their actions, therefore you're not responsible for some other white person's actions. When you see me, do not apologize for being white. Do not apologize for the hair that you have, the skin that you have, the features that you have. Stop hating on yourself. If you think bonding with me includes hating on other white people simply for them being white, well, you got another thing coming, because I love all people. And you should too, including yourself. If you see racism happening, do your best to combat it. Speak on it. Stop it from happening. Intervene and ensure that it doesn't happen again. This includes racism against white people. What's right is right.
I mean, you can intervene all kinds of crime. To some extent, to some level. You can find it and intervene. Doesn't have to be racism in particular, just something that people want to sit on their ass and talk about, as if they have anything to say. And this kind of just ends the delusion right there. You know, a black person asking you to stop apologizing because you personally have done nothing wrong. In fact, you should be selfish enough to understand that you haven't done anything, you know? There's a lot of selfish people who haven't done anything even though they did. Yeah, they allege that they haven't done anything. They try to gaslight you. Mostly, capitalism would try and gaslight you that they're not doing anything either. You just did it yourself. You wanted money so badly that you did it. You done did it, boy, by yourself. And people will continue doing those things, simping around. But if you haven't done anything, you're obviously not supposed to feel guilty and lose sleep over something, you know. And get into the most bullshit, racist drama of all time. That color of the skin matters. That black people are suppressed heavily. You know, if you can help them not be suppressed, that's great. But they do live in a different culture with a different body features that soak in more energy, and they're more energetic. And it's sometimes very difficult to put an energetic person into anything else but more slavery than usual. You know, you have so much energy, why don't you just work? You know, that's just what would happen. You work your way to the top. Slavery still exists, we just get money for it. We get compensated to some extent for being slaves. It's not like we find the work that we love all the time, 100% of the time. It's more like 90% of the time. NPCs are always going to end up doing things that they don't like, but they don't know what they like, and they don't know how to harvest skills. So they're just going to end up in slavery. Slavery still exists, guys. All right, people are still suffering. We just can't talk about it because it's normalized, you know. So that's more relevant than whatever the fuck happened in the history books that we have no actual experience of, by the way. Because experience and context matters, unfortunately. Even Hitler is actually understandable person if he suffered sleeplessness. Sleep deprivation.
Can you get used to sleep deprivation? Just train your body to get by on less sleep. That's the question I'm going to answer for you the next 2.
Well, I don't think it is relevant to answer the question. However, this loss of sleep stacks. Whether it's 4 hours, 6 hours, even 8 hours, stacks linearly, basically, is what he has discovered. This chart he flexes all over TikTok. I've seen it many times until it hits me that I'm like, shit, I have figured out. Full moon makes you more sleep deprived. Makes you sleep less, which is pretty bad. Makes you nervous of somehow. Or like gives you energy or something. What's going on with the full moon? The mystery is still up in the air, but science immediately claims that, yeah, you lose sleep. Something that I've logically worked out because moon is supposed to be governing the most important thing of going to sleep. Sun is supposed to be governing the most important thing of being awake and doing things and seeing things. Moon is supposed to do the opposite thing. Of just potentially just giving you information of what are the vibes of the world so you fall asleep. But this is next step forward in our research of how to sleep better and how important the sleep actually is and how much you have to just appreciate it and not combat it, not try to sleep less because that is a suicide. You want to sleep because it just restores your self-esteem entirely. everything gets repaired. Mostly energy and sanity gets repaired, but like literally everything gets repaired while you sleep. The linear graph, the nature of this, it means that the longer you are sleep deprived, all of these days, right, that you're sleeping only 4 hours, it stacks linearly, meaning that sleep does not get more potent. Sleep just does its function of giving you a specific resource, just like you get 10 wood every single day that you chop wood. You get 10 woods. You get 10 gold when you go to a workplace and you do the job. You get 10 golds. It's literally a resource. I would call it a self-esteem resource. I have nothing better to call, but it's literally a resource. You have to fill your cup with sleep. This opens a can of worms. People can be tortured. You can receive phone calls that don't let you sleep properly. You can sleep deprive yourself by jumping into some kind of drama, or get asked to work a lot harder than your body can sustain. These are the things you have to be fully aware of like whether you're making decisions because you're trying to get away from responsibilities to go to sleep, to get some more sleep. Sometimes even demonic world opens up. The full moon is a symbolic connection with just really evil things, I would say. First, witchcraft and werewolves start howling at the moon. Like, we're talking about some evil shit. Evil, scary shit has been depicted with the full moon, where all the zombies fucking arise. There's the blood moon too. Wow, crazy. So you can imagine, demons also know that if they sleep deprive you, you're more vulnerable, more susceptible, more easily defeated and manipulated. Everyone sort of plays into that crazy playgrounds of attacking each other's sleep and trying to get that resource away from them, to make you more vulnerable, to make you more prone to failure, even. Prone to failure. And everyone's potentially a predator in that sense as well. Because wherever there's resources, there's going to be predators. It's just how it goes in this world. If you have no self-esteem, you will have to trust someone else and maybe even fall into slavery, into human trafficking. Fascinating, isn't it? Or you're just going to fall into doing something bad yourself, getting irritated to the point you become the next Hitler and start World War III, the sequel. Let's do something lighthearted so we forget about it, so you don't lose sleep. But yeah, sleep is the most important thing. Shit gets really weird. I went to my mom like, you better not sleep deprive me, because I will increasingly become more evil attempting to sleep, for fuck's sake. You know, attempting to get my sleep. And then I realized that's what doctors are there for. Most doctors are gonna just prescribe you medication that would make you sleep more. And it sort of like makes sense. It is almost evil on the other sense of like you're losing time. You're losing almost sleep by sleeping too much. Or maybe you're losing your self-identity because you have so much self-esteem to spend, but you don't know where to spend it. So you're almost like waking up in a stolen world that makes you numb. It's complicated of what happens when you sleep too much, because that's also a problem, for sure. When you don't get the natural sleep that you want whenever you feel like it. Same goes with the last video. The last video conclusion was, in order to spend the exact amount of time on the internet, exact amount of screen time, you have to lose calories, you have to be passionate, but you must not lose sleep. The moment you're becoming sleepy is supposed to ring in your ears of like, you're running out of energy. You're not even being productive. What are you doing? Just stop whatever you're doing and reset. It's It's not supposed to be that difficult. You're not supposed to be combating it while at the same time wasting your time. So, that's how it goes. Those are the rules we have learned. Man, I hate these salty fucking dog NPCs, bro. Spawning loose dogs all over the place. Barking. Even just a simple act of, oh, you have to contact me first. I'm not gonna send you a message ever about anything. Even the need to wake up the fucking zombie NPCs around you, that's fucked up. As if like nothing happens in their life, they don't want to share anything with you. You have to force them to. You have to, get yourself employed first. Poke them 100 times. I have a solution for this man, but let's listen to the problem.
Last wish, I was addicted to popular video games. Valorant, Minecraft, Elden Rings. I can't play these because I'm poor. I don't have a PC. So instead, I spend my time playing games that nobody's ever heard of. But I'm good at them. I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer girl too. Look at my balls record. Okay, I'm literally him. I'm built different. Alright, I know my angles. I know how to shoot. That translates to Valorant and Fortnite and stuff. Yo, ever heard of Retro Bowl? Yeah, look, I've been on this since 4 years ago. Okay, look at these stats. Alright, they're like enchanted diamond netherite armor. For you gamers who don't understand. Y'all, Stick Wars? Bro, I finished every achievement. Okay, I finished the game hard, medium, intense. I beat the game with only archers. Okay, that shit was so hard. The only game my laptop can remotely handle is this game, Agario. Okay, and look, I'm 84. I'm level 8. I'm almost a mammoth, guys. I'm a pro. I do like pop splits and double splits and vanish splits and cannons. Point is, I want to be a streamer. I want to play video games, but I can't. And you guys are lucky that I can't, because I would have been the best streamer. I would have been the best Valorant player ever. I know so much ball knowledge. My balls are so lucky I don't play.
It's hard to tell how big of a skid this is, but yeah, some people could potentially be poor. Computer is not that expensive, but at some point, I mean, it's kind of convenient not to have one in a way. Not to live your life depending on hard to carry hardware. And he has a laptop, so good for you. And also now you can just buy a tablet. That would be the most natural transition, where you find ridiculous amount of games. Through a $200 tablet, you can definitely get a lot of shit. One thing I would recommend as a card game player, Hearthstone does not run smoothly. It's gonna lag. It's gonna be absolute garbage. But I think Marvel Snap would do just fine. You can play Marvel Snap. This is a genuine problem that I completely understand that most people have. You need a PC to play games. You need a pretty good PC to run AAA titles. It's kind of unacceptable. It's kind of annoying. It still makes things exclusive. It makes you too much of a gamer when you have all these stuff. This is why I don't want to buy an expensive PC if it doesn't run a AAA title. It's their fault, not my PC's fault. It makes me a little bit scared to actually know what's going to happen, especially when the games now require 50, 100 gigabytes of storage alone. It's fucking mad, bro. But yeah, I'm at the point where I can definitely recommend Marvel Snap. I got enough entertainment out of this thing.
Get off the phone. Why'd you tell her to do that? I'm the boss. She's at work. But what if it's an emergency?
I think this one can run in entirety.
Or her family. I mean, nothing urgent's happening right now. She's just waiting for another shipment. I pay her to be here. Her time is mine right now. How much do you pay her? $7.25 an hour? Huh. How much product does she make in an hour? On average, 10. How much you make off of those 10? After input costs, probably $20. Sounds like she's paying you $12.75 an hour for you to tell her to stay off the phone. But I run the business. How'd you buy the business? Took out a loan from the bank? How do you make those loan payments? With the money made from selling products. Right, the products that the 2,000 workers make. Aren't you worried that they'll catch on? The bank's not gonna give them a loan. Why not? They're all in debt. Why is that? $7.25 an hour is not that much to live off of. But it sounds like you make plenty. Why not share? Because I took on the risk. If this business fails, I'd declare bankruptcy. Huh, and what about the workers? Well, I'd have to fire them. Sounds like they're taking on the risk. No, they would find a new job. Well, so could you. The bank wouldn't give me another loan if I declared bankruptcy. No, you could work. You could get a job like them. What? So the risk you're taking is potentially becoming a worker. Lower your voice. Doesn't matter, I'm probably on their For You page right now anyway.
The business owners, they are still protecting their castles that could crumble apart and make them regular people again. Fascinating.
Hey Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that...
But she can provide content of why you should vote for the other party, Kamala.
Such as his stance on immigration, healthcare, and the environment.
Bias. There's nothing about democracy here. It's just pure evil bias, which is so annoying that often enough the tech giants kind of bend over a certain political party. I mean, that's just infuriating.
It's me, Donald, and I'm here with...
Because, you know, it's not about asking the specific question, it's just the leaning is going to be across multiple Alexa interactions, so to speak. If you ask Alexa for her opinion, basically, you're going to get that bias. And this is the best exposure you can get because these software things cannot be self-aware of whether they're saying something stupid and exposing themselves. They cannot be aware. But it's just so funny to me. Because it's exposing something else entirely that way.
Donald, I'm sorry.
You just have to experience this. I'm sorry. Double Trump. To vote for the right man.
The way,
be with myself. I'm so
it's
smart.
so great, by the way. One has hair and the other doesn't care.
Free of hair.
It's so nasty, and we're looking at Kamala. Kamala. What do you think about Kamala?
Well, I think a lot about her because I'm obsessed because she was Indian and now
she's black. I don't know how she did it. It's like she went from light mode to dark mode.
Dark mode, exactly. Dark mode.
She pressed a button and she changed.
All of a sudden it was dreadlocks and everything else.
It's incredible. I guess they're saying Indian is the new black. A lot of people are saying that.
That's true. And she was never black before. And who made her black? I don't know.
And you know, Kamala, what's it? Kalala, Kalamala, Kawala, Kawala.
Name. Kamala,
camouflage.
Camo hats. I'm not happy about that.
And you know, they have the, and I didn't even invent camouflage, but by the way, it's incredible. I should have.
It's really incredible. Camouflage.
Camouflage,
that sounds French. Camouflage. Camouflage.
Kamalala flash.
Kamalala flash.
So
but now she's black, so I don't know.
It's incredible. I don't know. She just changed it. But
and
by
I
the way,
Indian. They love me in India.
And I'm a lot prettier than her. By the way,
attractive.
We're way prettier than Kamala.
They'll never get me on looks. They'll never get me
on looks. Never.
It's true.
It's true.
So handsome.
Very handsome.
Right.
This is the best, bro. Donald Trump is spreading, bro.
Of course we don't know what darkness is. We're Alaskans. Of course we're gonna stay up past midnight but complain about it in the morning.
Genuine question, what the hell is going on in Alaska? I, like many of you watching this video, have fallen into the Alaska rabbit hole because of my TikTok For You page. What's going on there? Why are the crime rates in Alaska so high? You know Alaska's at the top of the list for basically every crime you could think of in the United States? It's at the top by like a large margin. Nope, not Chicago. Nope, not Houston. Nope, not New York. Alaska. Basically everything we made fun of Ohio for having and doing, Alaska actually has that. Times a billion. Alaska literally seems like it'd be like a whole nother world. It doesn't even seem like it'd be a part of the United States. And no offense to the people of Alaska, but I gotta be honest. Y'all all give me the vibes of the family from Resident Evil 7. Y'all give me those vibes. The president of Alaska has to be like Dr. Doofenshmirtz or some crap. Because I don't know what the frick is going on there.
You do.
Well, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, Alaska is so isolated from the rest.
Not get to max out my debit cards.
Okay, and?
Amelia. $2,500.
The whooping I would have got for doing a quarter of that. One time, I didn't give my mama her change bag. It was only 35 cents, and I got a whooping for that. So if I spend 25, oh, Lord, My mama, before she did what she did, she would have called and checked the casket price, make sure she could afford the funeral first before my whooping, because it was gonna lead to death. I tell you that. And this is exactly why the kids ain't today, because they dictators. They run the whole household. They Vladimir Putin at their own house. Like, well, come on, what are you? Don't let that little girl talk to you like that.
I hate that so much, and it just exposes what bad parenting looks like. Just allowing your kids to make a mess. Whooping aside, I think the best solution is always no food solution. You know, if you want food, you can ask anyone else. You can step outside the family bubble and start begging for food to someone else. It's gonna be a little bit of a payback that a child would have to do. I think that's the best way to, deal with demons and predators. You just say no to them, and predator gets no food. This can include a child learning some predatory behavior and dictatorship. Yep. Even just screaming down the street where everyone else is walking by and don't want to fucking deal with your stupid family. Or me living above a screaming child constantly. I mean, like, I don't want to deal with that shit. But now it's just plugged in so conveniently and so comfortably that no one actually has ability to, help me untangle the mess of what the fuck's going on. Everyone's just defending the child. Yeah, great, you can defend the child, but you have to condemn the parents for being fucking idiots and not knowing how to do their job that they chose to do. They chose to be employed as parents. There is, foster care for all intents and purposes. And it should be treated as a job of, like, whoever can grab something from foster care, they get compensations. They get encouragement of, like, okay, you're dealing with a troubled child. Congratulations, here's a little bit of a payment. If you have to dump children into foster care, you have to pay your share of extra taxation. There's a lot of solutions for everything, to be honest. Taxation and rewards. Rewards. Why are we forgetting rewards in this economy, bro? What the fuck is wrong with that? Give me money.
I need more money now for myself, please. This guy, he comes out every month saying, people are not doing enough. I need more money. I need more money from everybody. And now he's saying that Britain isn't doing enough. Let me tell you right now, mate, Britain isn't doing enough for its own citizens. So you should be on the fucking back burner right now so you can calm down, mate. Oh, this guy. At the same time, he's the same person that sits in interviews like that, looking like he snorted half a sober up his nose. This guy, the thing is as well, if you look back, 2023, they've done a census. From the actual people that live in Ukraine, 80% of them said he is probably the source of corruption in Ukraine. 80% of your own citizens know that. And another thing with that thing, Ukraine has been the hotspot for human trafficking since the 90s. You can look it up. It's been the hotspot for human trafficking. Makes you really wonder why the Americans and the UK like to send over a lot of money to them, don't they? And at the same time, there's rumours of, you can get articles up of it. There's somehow weapons that we send over there, they appear somewhere else in Europe or anywhere else. It's gang wars. It's weird, really strange that. So this bloke, I know people see him as a hero and like all this kind. I see him as the most corrupt kind of guy ever, especially.
Well, suspicious then. And I've been always suspicious of whatever the fuck capitalist world is doing. Because Russia and Ukraine and India and that region in general that speaks a certain language as well, they are a capitalist bloc that likes money a lot, likes money more than human life sometimes. And if they can just get money, if they can just ask of, like, we're in crisis, everyone's attacking us, and they can get money that way, I mean, to them, it seems like a rational thing to do. Now, in terms of the apocalypse, they are in danger, but we have to be suspicious that this is what they want more. They don't give a fuck about war. They sort of want to win, but there's no winning side. Russia is just 10 times bigger than fucking Ukraine. The only thing that can make Ukraine bigger is enough money. But then the money thing happens across the world when we cut off Russia from the rest of the world. Just like, it's all about money in the end. It's all about shaking the economy, is what these folk wanted to do this whole time. The second crisis. The first crisis was to shake up the governments, to show how corrupt governments can be, because they're not established, but they want to establish themselves the moment pandemic hits out of nowhere. They want to show that you're going to be protected and you're going to be masked up by force. And you'll enjoy it somehow. Okay, cool. But right now, again, we have a European crisis. The fact that people in UK feel like they have to flee their own country, it's just the same indication that Ukrainians are fleeing their own... I mean, Ukrainians, boys. We have barely moved the definitions, it seems. Ukrainians are leaving their own country. I have open arms for anyone who speaks English, because we can have a conversation. Crazy, right? And I might have property. Who knows? We have to investigate. You have to be my friends. Please be my friend. We have cheaper things, and nobody stabbed me yet, so I must be in a safe place.
To give me a real solution for fruit flies. Like, they are everywhere, and I can't get rid of them. I have done the vinegar, soap,
and turns out all these fruit fly traps actually attract fruit flies. That's why they are a trap, because they attract fruit flies from all over the place, from a long distance away even. So the traps actually make things worse overall, even though you see some dead fruit flies in the trap. The best thing to do is just to clean thoroughly, so there's nothing attracting the damn pest. Alright? That was the 2-minute video about fruit flies. Like, it's funny how TikTok promotes this sort of a semi-solution to things, but it actually makes things worse. That is fascinating to me.
I have a new conspiracy theory that
You just never know, you know? You just never know when something that sounds like a solution will make things worse. Fascinating to me.
I've just come up with, but I am convinced it's true, and I'm curious if other people think the same. I will explain the specifics of how I think.
Well, this guy is concerned that TikTok is gonna find the way for you to click on the advertisement. Right now, there's an advertisement rollout. Even I am getting advertisements. First time ever. I'm getting advertisements and I don't like it. Absolutely not. It's absolute shit to me to be, you know, enslaved slightly more than I used to be scrolling TikTok. Now seeing advertisements makes me feel like shit. And they have this red button that appears, and this guy says it appears in a specific time where it's the most likely to be clicked on. Fascinating. But I will dismiss this as something that I have been able to avoid, the red button game. I'm still winning. I'm winning, guys. I have never clicked it.
So this story's going viral all over the internet, but the entire country is missing the point. Let me tell you the point. Yes, the founder of Arizona has made a great product for like 20 years, and he's never raised the price. It's been under $1, and he's going to keep it that way, and that's a beautiful story. But why isn't the rest of our economy anything close to that? Let me tell you some truths. The business owners are gone. We don't have people who actually own businesses, take the profit, and say, oh,
we also don't have competitors, by the way.
Oh man, I'm good. I can continue to deliver my customers a great product. No, that doesn't exist anymore. We have private equity that buys all the businesses. Why is private equity so big? There's too much fucking money that they've printed and that they've said that the stock market in these countries.
Everything is gobbled up and slapped on by a BlackRock. Controls everything, just buys everything. They have all the money, they generate all the money, and they can buy everything with money. Money is increasingly more corrupt of a means of exchange because someone has all of it and can buy anything before that thing even matures and has an ability to just exist in that particular country and benefit the people. It just gets bought and controlled by someone else. Crazy. Money.
Companies are worth. And so now people just have so much money that they're just sitting around saying, let me buy this, let me buy that. They're buying albums, they're buying people's catalogs, they're buying gas stations, medical practices.
fascinating. It's like an invisible country, so to speak, of whoever can generate the most profit. They get to buy all the things. It doesn't even matter where the borders are. The capitalism will get you and will raise prices all over the place because there are invisible countries, invisible places that will raise all their prices all at once because they're controlled by one entity. It's crazy, bro. That's next level fucking paradigm expose.
This is wild. In France, they have successfully trained crows to help clean up their parks by picking up the littered cigarette butts. The way that it works...
They get rewarded and they learn to do that.
So Pepsi and Coca-Cola produce over 200,000 single-use plastic bottles every single minute. But it's you grilling a hamburger that is ruining the earth. Got it.
You heard about the Chase Bank infinite money glitch?
Yeah, so we went full circle pretty much, because that was the previous What the Fuss video, but let's do a bonus meme. Whichever is gonna like pop at me, as if it's relevant. The Polish thing is pretty cool. Farmers blocking... Ugh. The noise, bro. We should not forget that farmers are the first ones to get angry. Especially if they get affected by anything. Holy shit, man. You have never seen an army before that can take down whatever the fuck they want. Because they're the biggest threat to just winning civil war. Farmers owns the means of life. Just existing. If they get angry... we should get angry with them and side with them immediately and not even wait a single fucking second because politicians don't fucking matter no more. Angry farmer I have seen. I bow to him. Right now, give me potato though. Potato in my mouth, please. I respect that more than any politician ever. That's the European way, bro. Angry farmer is your authority. It's the only thing you should know. And that's the bonus meme. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned, because you never know what you're going to learn, guys.